This is Books, Tickets and and we're joined with Padraig McCrory. How are you, Paddy?
I'm very well, Morty. Things are good. Things are good.
And obviously, we're 2 weeks now in the new year. Obviously, Happy New Year to yourself. I think
Thank you very much.
it's probably been a few months since we obviously talked via YouTube. Um,
Yeah.
how you've been getting on with obviously, well, I think we're all getting fed up with the lockdown now, aren't we? Really? And how have you been finding obviously with your own work, working from home?
Yeah. So obviously the gym's closed recently, which affects my work. So I've just had to adjust adjust a wee bit, and I've started doing some Zoom workouts and stuff, just to keep like my clients active as well. But listen, there's people there that's far worse off. And for me, I have a young family and a wife, and they gotta just get on with it, and that's it.
And obviously, I don't think I know on your own Facebook and things you've sort of mentioned, that like your own mother's been obviously through quite a lot, the last year or so, and thankfully, obviously, she's probably showing the fighter instinct that you have to come through everything. So all positive sort of news, sort of and keeping
Yeah,
good.
yeah, of course. Like it's still like it's very concerning. That like the rate of infection and stuff's going is extremely high, and it doesn't seem to go away. But my mum she's home when she's safe. Um, and I guess we just had to be like very grateful for that.
And how have you sort of been finding, I don't think you probably nearly have to look too far sometimes in social media to see things to do with COVID. Um,
Yeah.
it's probably tough, obviously. It's all right in saying sometimes when people have opinions on what they think and things, but you've been through it all yourself, so it must be hard seeing people's posts on COVID.
It can, it can be very frustrating, and sometimes I do get caught up in like stupid arguments. But I've I've experienced it firsthand. Some of my extended family, like, have sadly passed away from it. Um, and and my mum, she was she was critically ill with it. But it does get it's very frustrating that people um that people are post some crazy stuff, but people, like, they're very entitled to their opinions. So I'm going to try and start just take the step back from it, and just try and go after myself and my own family.
You've always, I would probably say through your life in boxing, you probably always shown great mental attitude. You know, um, Obviously at the start of your career, you had quite a few cancelled fights. What you probably nearly say you're very well experienced to give other people
Yeah,
advice when they've shows cancelled. So, you have a gym mate, and obviously Owen O'Neill, who's always been through a bit of a tough time recently,
yeah,
losing his grandfather and his fight being
yeah.
cancelled, and other fighters. So, what sort of advice would you give to fighters whenever shows do get pulled? Is probably we're going to still see more of.
Yeah. I definitely think things will get a little worse, like before we get better. But the only advice that I can give them lads is, and I have, is just keep taking away, have faith, and um if it's meant for you, um like, your time will come. They're all young lads, like, they're all young. Owen he's very dedicated. He helped me and Lewis, like, the whole way through like camps, and he still trained the whole way through. And he was meant to fight in December, and then it was called off, and it was changed till then late January. And in between then Lewis's or Owen's grandfather then passed away, unfortunately. But Owen was back in the gym. He took off a week or so, and he's back in the gym, and he was getting ready for a show which meant to be next Saturday. And again, unfortunately, it was called off. So um, he's de- I think he's definitely a bit sort of disheartened by it, but I've no doubt in him, and I'm sure he'll be back in the gym next week, and hopefully get a date in March, I think.
Yeah, when I was talking to him the last couple of days, and with obviously losing people in my own family, sometimes I like to sort of, you get the occasional thoughts of with you with people sometimes, and it sort of slowly passes. But I'm sort of keeping a close eye on him, and I think he's saying he's back into the gym tomorrow, so he's sort of become like a
Yeah.
gym rat this last year with no fights.
Yeah.
He'd nearly be the
Yeah.
sweeper for cleaning the gym. He's into that much.
To be honest, though, Owen's he's like the heart and soul of our team. Like, I think he's only 4 or 5 now, but from I've joined there, Owen's been the most dedicated fighter there. And and I think he's just a brilliant guy. Just so funny. He's good to be around. And he's a good person as well. Like, so, I like having Owen there.
It definitely, as I say, we got to know him quite well ourselves, and I think even before he'd signed over pro, I think I was actually there the day that Dennis came to check him out in the gym, and they obviously watch how he's progressed, and they have people's got a bit more experience than yourself and Lewis, and obviously Conrad was
Yeah.
there for a while, and Paddy Gall and everything else, so he's learned off everybody and probably showed sometimes here there's a right way to do it, to bring yourself on more.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
He's definitely improved as a fighter as well.
I say we haven't got to see him in a while. Obviously, the last show that they had February of last year, obviously there was two shows in the one night, and just didn't get to see him unfortunately that night. But
Yeah.
another obviously packed out Devonish obviously with Owen O'Neill's supporters on it.
Yeah.
Looking obviously at the stable as well, he's of another new addition to the stable in Connor Quinn. He's obviously returned back
Yeah.
from Australia. Have you seen much of him so far? Obviously, I know D and Mark Dunlop's been making um, a lot of comparisons, and obviously where they might see his career go. What have you seen of him so far?
Connor's he's a great talent, very very good talent. Connor he has a bit of everything. He can punch hard, and he can box. He can be elusive. He's a good boxing brain. Uh, so we were doing some training, and and like he's so light, but so see inside, it's very deceiving. He's so strong. It's crazy. I think he's only like, what is he, like a featherweight or something?
I think he's actually
Um,
more. I think is it bantam or super fly? Sorry.
Probably, yeah. But for his weight, he's extremely strong. He's a very dedicated kid. He's very down to earth. And he's a real nice way about him as well. So I think he's a brilliant addition to us with me, Lewis, and Owen stuff there.
And obviously, if he takes the traits that you and Lewis have, his fights won't be lasting for too long.
Yeah, well, you don't see many knockouts like at the smaller weights, but I believe Conor Quinn has the power like to just knock people out.
And obviously, he was supposed to be getting out in Belgium, what was it, the last week in December, but just didn't work out. I know obviously
Yeah.
Mark hadn't potentially lined in for his Belfast pro debut, as obviously in his third pro fight for March, but I can't obviously see that March show in Belfast going ahead now.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Unfortunately, boxing in the UK isn't looking like for fans isn't looking like it's coming anytime soon. But the sooner the better.
Is it sort of wrong? They sort of, obviously I know yourself. You had a massive fight in the Fela. What was it? August 2019. It seems so long ago now. But is it probably in your head now? You're probably thinking Fela 2021 maybe off as well.
Listen, you just hope. I try and like watch news and stuff and see what's going on. Obviously, like what you hear in the news isn't always true, but they're hoping to have every adult vaccinated by late summer. So if that's possible, I'm sure, and I hope that there's some kind of failure that goes on. I'm 32 now, and I would like personally love like for that opportunity like to happen again.
definitely a memorable night for you. I can still remember you being a bit dizzy in the ring.
Yeah, yeah, it was good. It was class. It's a great
Uh,
experience.
Obviously, looking at the boxing, obviously since you've been out, I think it was maybe before your last fight or after your last fight. You had obviously a boxing Ireland fighter in Kevin Cronin, sort of looking to test himself up against you. Um, and obviously you started to become aware of people calling you out now. What did you make of the potential fight between him and Taylor McGoldrick?
Um, I think Kevin, he's 2-0, 2-0.
2-0,
Taylor's 3-1. Yeah, I think it's early in their careers, but in the current sort of environment and what's happening with boxing, I think it's a good fight for both of them. Um, again, both of them, I think, like both would like probably like to have one or two fights first just to get warmed up for it. But I think it's a good fight down the line. I think they're going to. I think they're going, both going to fight at light heavyweight. I'm a super middleweight. I did back in March maybe, when MTK were looking to put on a show. I did hear his name mentioned, but like, it was nothing more than that. It was just a mention. And him and Taylor's, it's a domestic fight. There's a bit of a buzz about it, so I would like to watch it.
And it's not like I can remember back to the Titanic. Obviously, you and Sean McGlinchey obviously fought in less than 24 hours notice, and
Yeah,
at the end of the day, if a fight's a fight, that's what probably sometimes you're there for, is to fight. So if it's there,
yeah,
happy days.
yeah. Like, it seems that both fighters want it. It seems a very easy fight to make. So yeah, like, it's not as if like they're getting 24 hours notice. I jumped in the ring with Sean McGlinchey at 4-0. He was 2-0. And he was a standard amateur. So it was a risk and it paid off. And I think for Taylor and Kevin, it's a risk. And I think the winner, like, will move on a bit, and whoever loses may have to take a wee step back, but just build again. Yes, and I just wish them both the best.
Yeah, fantastic. And as I said, obviously, I think with everybody's thoughts is 2021. So hopefully, the year we can see a lot of Irish fights, being panned out. Um,
Yeah,
Obviously, looking at a potential other Irish fight, Conrad Cummins is moving up to super middleweight. He's obviously been out of the ring
yeah,
quite a bit now.
yeah.
Would that be a fight maybe could interest you in the full Irish title, or would that be a fight that would be something you'd be
Um,
interested in?
it's something that I never thought about. Me and Conrad, they were very friendly. It's a fight that never really crossed my mind. Um, Boxing's a business, and like, I'll never say definitely not. But at this stage, I couldn't see it happening. I think Conrad, like, we probably need a fight or two, just to get back to winning ways and stuff, and see where he's at. But never say never. I like Conrad, so I don't know.
It's obviously good to see him coming back as well. Obviously, seen Irish Boxing's article on him today. He obviously doesn't have a trainer or anything at the moment, and I think his deal with MTK is maybe potentially up in arms as well. So I don't know
Yeah,
what the future holds. But
even just like, as we're speaking about him, I remember going to Manchester to watch Frampton and Quigg, and Cummings fought on the bill, and then I see him in the bar after, and the guy seen him, and I walked up to him, and the guy asked for a photograph and says, like, class, you're smashing it. I stopped boxing then. So listen, I've looked up to him, and I hope that he has a very sort of successful comeback.
definitely, I say it's Conrad's always been one that's always twinkled everybody's eyes. He's always been full of life. So it'd be great to see him obviously come back, and
Yeah,
it's another obviously I know he's always good crack with Carl and Stephen Ward and things in the gym when he was in Manchester, but he always seemed to have a good
Yeah,
atmosphere about him and a good vibe. So we'll obviously wish him very well in his comeback. Um,
yeah.
looking obviously at some of the domestic things, sort of a fight that sort of talked a wee bit, where potentially I would like to have seen you have yourself is um, Lerone Richards obviously left Frank Warren, vacated the British title and moved to Eddie Hearn and has fought
Yeah.
since. Um, what have you thought of Lerone's move and to Eddie, and would that be a sort of fight that would interest you down the line?
Down the line, yeah, yeah. The Rome's he's a very talented fighter. Very slick. He's very slick, and he can punch a bit. He seems to be heading towards like the European title, maybe on the verge of world level. I'm probably one or two big fights away from that, but it's definitely a fight that I'd be interested in.
I don't think I could ever hear you turning down any sort of fight. Um, obviously we've seen in 2020 the talented John Dougherty was beat by Jack Collins, so sort of shows sometimes that not to get too far ahead of yourself in boxing, and anything can sort of happen. So what did you make of Jack Collins' performance against the Doc?
Very good. I think he was down the first round and he got up and he dug deep and I think he won the fight. Um, John Docker is a very talented fighter, and I think he can come back from that. I think he'll learn loads from that fight. Jack Cohn again would be a fight that I'd be interested in. Yeah, I Jack seems like a brilliant guy as well. I think he's from Manchester.
Yeah.
And anybody that I know that knows him says that he's a good guy. So again, that's a fight that I potentially that I really got.
Do you sort of look at it, to look at people in the domestic scene, sort of, and sort of try and match yourself up, sort of thinking, if I was the other side, do you look at these guys and go, I want them next, or is it a case of MTK give you a list of fighters and who they want
Yeah,
you sort of fight?
I like I know everybody like around like the top 20 in the UK, and I probably watch them all. I'm a boxing fan as well, so and yeah, there's I think if you look like the top five or six super middleweights are all world level, all super talented fighters, and then below that, even like the British level fighters are they're also good. You look at Lerone Richards, you look at Wally Hutchinson. They're two fighters that could like potentially go on and win major titles. And then like below that, you had the Zach Charlie and you had the Jack Holm fight. I thought Charlie won the fight. Charlie went on to win the Ultimate Boxer.
Mm-hmm.
Showed he has all the ability in the world. So middleweight, it's a very exciting weight. Probably one of the best weights in the UK.
Definitely agree. There's plenty of talent there. Obviously, the super middleweight division as well is sort of a bit of a character that seems to be obviously quite a people looking to fight him, but obviously Idris Virgo sort of got known from, was it Love Island, I think, was it? And he seems to be discrediting some of the journeyman type fighters that's been there.
Yeah.
Obviously, I know you yourself. Sometimes you'll have your opinions of being a boxing fan, but what have you made of Idris Virgo? Is it sort of the thing where it's a business and he's doing all he can to make the most of what he can, or will he soon get found out?
I don't know. I wouldn't like to think that that's like the type of like I wouldn't like to think that that's really like his personality. Because I found it disgusting. He was fighting the guy 0-7, Scott Williams, I think he called the guy, and he threw water over him and like spoke to him like if it was a child, and that's not something that I would do. And I didn't like it either. I don't know. He's had 10 fights, has he? And he hadn't really fought anybody yet. So
I think
he needs
3-0, maybe just.
Who?
Virgo.
No, he's 9-0 and 1 draw.
Maybe
No,
I'm wrong on that. But I thought he'd only had about 3 fights.
No, he's had about 10 fights. I I can remember watching Love Island, and he was on it, and he was saying as a boxer, and then I kind of looked him up, but no, he's definitely had like 10 or 11 fights, and like he speaks about opponents' numbers and stuff. If that's his gimmick, and people's talking about him, then so be it. But it's definitely not something that I like, or I would even think about doing.
Entertaining. Just obviously checking the record. He's 9-0 and 1 draw. So
Yeah.
I was well off. Obviously looking then the world level. What did you make of Callum Smith fighting Canelo?
Canelo's he's an insane talent. Callum Smith is one of my favorite fighters. Currently, I think he showed great heart, and he definitely has a ability. But Canelo's he's a megastar. And Colin Smith will probably move up a weight, and I have no doubt he'll probably win a world title. And then I think Alvarez will just do whatever he wants. He can fight at middleweight, he fights super middleweight, he'll fight at light heavyweight, and I don't see much fighters in the world staying with him.
Definitely a supreme talent, and obviously I know not so much it was made from Callum afterwards, but I think he tore his left bicep maybe in the fight, which obviously have stopped him from doing what he wanted.
And one of my favorite shots for Colin Smith is a counter left hook. He does so well, and he puts people to sleep with it as well. And that's a big tool of his. So I kind of went against him, but again, he's fighting like the best fighter in the world, and unfortunately, Alvarez was just a bit too good.
Do you think could you see anybody currently in this middleweight division that could cause him any problems?
For Alvarez?
Yeah.
I like Caleb Plant, but I don't know. I like Plant. I don't know if Plant's as good as Golovkin. So I don't think he'll give him loads of trouble. I don't know. He's a small sort of middleweight, so you might get someone there. I just can't think of anybody at the minute.
The obviously Plant fights Caleb Truax. I think it's 2 weeks on Saturday.
Yeah, I fancy Plant for that.
I want to see a better fight for him there, but Plant probably the one that was talked about before as a potential opponent, and probably something that they're looking at down the line. But I think Plant needs a couple more fights. Even though he's a world champion, to make his name a bit more.
Sorry, I was just breaking up. I don't know yet.
Yeah, so
I can't really hear you.
Hello?
Go ahead.
Plant's obviously fighting now in a couple of weeks' time, so we'll get to see a bit more of him then.
Yeah.
And obviously with the Billy Joe and Martin Murray fight in December there as well. Obviously Martin Murray's now decided to call it a day. Would you class, obviously Martin Murray obviously a very distinguished career and sort of nearly a bit like yourself, obviously very good with fans and sort of just like loves the fight, you know. Obviously nice to see him obviously get going out and obviously another world title fight, but what did you make of the career of Martin Murray?
Martin Murray's had a brilliant career. I think he's 39. He fought for a couple of different world titles. He fought Golovkin. I don't know. He's a fighter that I look up to, and he's just a real fighter. Like he seems very down to earth. So I think he's a couple of kids and stuff. So I just wish him all the best as well.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, it's another obviously stalwart of the game. It's sort of leaving it. Probably should have had a world title.
Yeah.
But,
probably.
That held high.
Yep.
How have you been finding keeping weight off and things with COVID? I know we're just past Christmas and things, but have you found with the lockdown and things that it's been easier to keep the weight off, or have you been like everybody else just tucking into the biscuits?
I find it harder. I like say I'm sitting doing nothing. I just think about snacking, like eating food. I would rather like up and work and staying active. I find it harder. I definitely find it harder. Um, but it's about being or having some sort of like discipline now. Especially with some potential fights coming up. I gotta. It's something that I need to like start to change.
And obviously, if you do get, I know you have no fight news pending at the moment, but if you do get fight news, then that'll give you more of a purpose to get back and get at it.
Yeah, of course. Like listen, like, I'm still in the gym. I'm still training. I'm with Dan still. Thankfully, with us being like a class of sort of elite athletes, um, we can still train. So that's a bonus, and I'm still keeping fit. So hopefully, like when I have a fight date, there isn't loads to do. Some like fine tuning, some sparring and stuff. But yeah, it's thankfully I'm in a position where I can still train.
And obviously, I don't think I've obviously mentioned obviously you're linking up with Dan before, but being a personal trainer yourself and obviously having a bit of an expertise and more of an eyes on with Dan and the strength and conditioning, how have you found working with Dan and obviously finally having somebody in your S&C? Well, obviously I know you had it before, but how have you found obviously the difference with a new S&C coach and Dan?
Yeah, good. No, Dan's a qualified S&C coach, so he has a lot more knowledge than me in like sports specific stuff. Um, Dan's a great coach. He's a great guy to be around. He's been involved in Paddy Gallagher's career. He's been involved in like with Aidan Walsh and Michaela Walsh and stuff as well. Like so, some good fighters. Dan's very good at what he does. Uh, Dan will always make time for you, and we speak a lot. We stay in touch. So, and he's a good guy as well. Like, he's fun to be around as well. So, I enjoy Dan's training. And I suppose if you look at my only fight with Dan, as an S&C coach, uh, I knocked the guy out in 70 seconds that had never been stopped before. So something must be going right.
So if it's playing in there well, and obviously I just must add as well. Obviously Dan just doesn't do S&Cs. He's always been around the career boxers. And I think he's probably within the pro boxing probably about 8-9 years maybe, and obviously has boxed amateur
Yeah,
and things and stuff himself. So I think he actually talked about maybe
yeah.
making
And
a comeback in 2021.
no, I don't know if Dan's going to box again, but he has his own stable of fighters, Paddy Gallagher and Taylor McCrory and stuff. So and he's a few others. I think he was going to help out Connor Cook as well.
Yeah.
So Dan's building his own stable of fighters to be a coach as well. So um, with if he has the same dedication to that as he does with S&C, I think he'll do very well.
Definitely will, and I'd say I'll be looking forward to that and stuff myself. Obviously, sort of before we let you go, we obviously know you're a big boxing fan yourself. Um,
Yeah,
the what did you make of obviously the long-awaited news of Frampton Heron being announced yesterday?
yeah, brilliant. I'm very happy. I'm very happy that's finally sorted. And now he also doesn't have a court case looming over his head as well.
Hmm.
So it's all settled as well. So now Card's only focus is becoming 3-weight champion of the world. And for boxing here, Card's been doing it for many years. I'd be his biggest fan. I I know him personally as well. So it, like I just hope he goes and makes history. I really do. I just hope he goes and becomes 3-weight champion of the world, and he go down as the best fighter Ireland's ever made or produced.
It's let's say I think it was in the talk from like November 2019.
Yeah,
So it's been
yeah. It's
building
been a
on
long
for
way
quite a
for him.
bit. And I actually seen them having a bit of back and forth last night on social media, and about the fight. So it might be obviously
Yeah,
interesting for once, maybe if there's a bit of needle leading up to the fight, because
yeah,
sometimes it
yeah,
always seems to be that people play the nice card, come to the fight card. You'd obviously Denair singing to fans. You'd look Jackson, obviously, was just like one of the lads. You've quite a few fighters now that's sort of giving him the respect, but you maybe might see a bit on the illness because it means so much to him.
Well, Jamel Hearns, he's champion of the world, and he's obviously a good fighter, and he believes in himself, and the Americans, they kind of have a bit of a sort of edge about them, so I can see it getting very interesting.
And obviously the last American that obviously fought Carl in Belfast, Chris Avalos. He obviously ended up, probably wouldn't have any comparisons between the two, but Avalos obviously was very confident going in, and it really annoyed Carl. Yeah. So maybe this might be something that could tee him up further in this fight. What have you made of the Zone's launch in the UK market? Have you seen much of the Zone's action? Or?
Yeah, like, what is it, $1.99 or something?
$1.99 a month.
And in the first month you got some like crazy fights. I think it's great value. I don't know what it's going to do for boxing. But I can only see it as a positive. More fights getting more views. More views mean more money, hopefully. And that's what works.
I guess the big thing that people may think of is obviously the Zone taking over Matchroom UK when potentially their dealings with Sky. But I think as a fan sort of point sometimes, probably more so for boxers, because you've been there and made your debut early on, in Burnett's show without sort of the media coverage and everything else. So maybe the Zone deal coming in potentially may show all of cards, which might end up helping more boxers than driving down prices, so to speak.
Yeah. Like I fought on shows where I'd probably never be seen. Do you know what I mean? So, and thankfully now, like with Top Rank as well, Top Rank have a deal with MTK, and you're getting free streams, on YouTube and on Top Rank. So people are starting to see more of us, and now more of the guys who maybe be a bit earlier on in their career. So I can only see it as a positive for boxing, and let's hope it brings some extra money for us.
You're right. Obviously, boxers don't get paid enough sometimes, and what did they say? I think 1% will only ever really make anything out of the sport. So anything that brings more money into the sports.
Yeah, I suppose, see if you compare boxing to like other sports. Like if you look at even like football, you look through right through from like Premier League right down to like League Two, Scottish League. They range from £300,000 a week to maybe £3,000 a week. Most boxers don't get a wage. It's kind of like you generate like your own money, and whatever you make. So it's something that I love. If you're good enough, you can make good money from it. But I wouldn't really advise anybody, like if they want to make good money and have a good life, to go down that way. Strangely enough,
you definitely have to have a different thought process in the brain to be a professional boxer, because people think sometimes that every professional boxer is a millionaire, when it's probably in the nearly opposite way. So to be a pro boxer, you obviously have to be very mentally strong, not only just taking punches to the face, but obviously getting paid peanuts for doing it at times as well.
Yeah, but as well, if you look at James Tennyson, he's a perfect example of hard work, dedication, and just keep going. Hard can pay off. He's now on the verge of some big fights and making life-changing money. So it can work. And
on you mentioning that, obviously you've probably seen the tweet from Eddie Hearn last night that he's looking to potentially come back to Belfast. Hopefully towards maybe the tail end of 2021 if fans are allowed back in. But obviously Matchroom returning to Belfast obviously shows how much is improved since the last time he was there.
Yeah, like outside of Frampton and Burnett, Matchroom would have never came to Belfast, and now we have James Tennyson. We have Tommy McCarthy, who's European champion, and then we definitely have some very good fighters like as well. You have Tro McKenna, who's probably in the top 20 in the world, and then there's plenty of fighters here. I just hope that the public get behind them, and it's not just a one-off.
And obviously more of a, particularly with James Tennyson, you'd probably like to see him do more of the model that Matchroom have done with Ritson, and keep him coming back for shows and shows.
Yeah. James he's moved up a weight and he's blown everybody out of the water. And at that weight, there's some serious fights to be made. It's probably the best weight in the world. And let's hope James can bring some big fights to Belfast.
Definitely is. And obviously I want to leave on the fact that sort of creating a bit of positivity is Eddie Hearn's due to announce 6 UK fight cards on Friday night. So probably you'd say Eddie's like a ringleader sometimes. So Eddie will first start announcing fight cards and then everybody will fall in line afterwards. So obviously it's good news for you as a boxer to hear that there's more fight cards being announced and potentially you could be offered some fights there.
Well, I stay in touch with my team. They have told me to stay ready. They told me that they have some potential fight dates. So I'm hoping to be out before April. So I'll be ready for it. And once shows start getting announced, all the better for us. And then fights start happening, people start getting paid. And let's hope some fighters start bringing big belts back to Belfast.
Definitely.
And Ireland as a whole.
Fingers crossed. Yeah. They say the more fights we have here in Belfast, the more fighters get an opportunity and probably come through the same ranks that you and Sean and others would have came across in the last few years. So it's now about you getting yourselves further up in cards and obviously making bigger names for yourselves. But look, Paddy, we'll obviously leave you on that. Obviously, thanks for catching up with us again, and hopefully we'll hear you having some fight news soon.